Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special Passive House Component Spotlight with FAKRO. We're really excited to have you here, and we're really excited to have Tomasz Glab of FAKRO here to present about high-performance skylights. As we do this component spotlight, I will be playing the role of Q&A concierge. So as questions occur to you during the presentation, please type them into chat and we'll be tracking those. And when Tomasz has completed his presentation, we'll invite you to come on screen and ask the question directly of Tomasz. If for some reason you're not able to come on screen, no worries, you can just note that for us and we can ask your question for you as well. So without further ado, Tomasz Glab is Operations and Technical Director at FAKRO America, LLC, where he leads the technical support team for architects and contractors. Tomasz graduated from Technical University in Lublin, Poland, and in 2002, he started building his experience working in the construction industry. He enjoys photography and home improvement projects, and he can be reached at tom@fakrousa.com. So with that, Tomasz, please take it away.
Thank you very much, Zach. Hello, everyone.
Absolutely.
Yep, happy to be here. And I hope you find this presentation useful at some point of your professional work. Few words about FAKRO. Not all of you might be familiar with the company, even though the company has been in the market for over 30 years. I will start my presentation with a little bit of the history of the company. Then we will go quickly over the wide selection of the products we manufacture. And at the end of the presentation, I will focus on the products that are suitable for let's say, a passive house design. The company was established in 1991 in Poland and is currently the second largest roof windows manufacturer in the world. I like to think of FAKRO as a company in a similar fashion as, let's say, Hewlett-Packard. They both started in the garage. So the first roof windows the FAKRO manufactured were made in the garage. And what you see here is a current view of our main factory plant, right next to our headquarters and offices. But FAKRO currently FAKRO employs more than 4,000 people. It comprises 11 production and 17 distribution companies. FAKRO products can be found in over 50 countries around the world whenever there is a demand for such product. Export sales accounts for about 70% of our total sales. We like to think of us as an innovation company. Currently, FAKRO is one of the most innovative companies in Poland, and we hold over 180 patents applications. Worth to mention about the eco approach. So the wood that we use for production of our windows is sourced from areas with plant forest management, where the old tree stand is replaced with a new one. 100% of the wood purchased for production is used by our plant. We use even dust. So we have a special equipment that we can actually produce our own briquettes that later on in let's say winter months, we use those briquettes in our furnaces to heat our production plants. We buy wood from sawmills in the boards, but the rest of the wood process is actually fully controlled by our company. So we dry the wood, we chop it, we even use finger joints to connect smaller pieces to produce longer frame parts. And from here, I'd like to move to wide range of our products. This building is often used on the back of our catalogs. It shows almost all of the products that FAKRO makes, but I will briefly go over the categories. The first category would be roof windows. That's how a company started. We started with the roof windows. I hope you can see my my pointer. Typical European roof windows, a pivot window or top hinge window. They can be combined 2 or 3 together, or can be combined with like a fixed window on the bottom. We manufacture like a set of windows that, let's say, we call it L-shaped window, where window that is installed in the wall can actually translate into the window that is in the roof. It's pretty cool design. Balcony roof windows, those two, the view on the outside, view on the inside. It's at some projects it could be a nice alternative for dormitory, or dormer, sorry, for dormer. Pretty nice product, and not so long ago we introduced that product in the triple glazed options. I don't have many details in my presentation about that particular window, but if someone is interested, and my email will be at the end of presentation, and I will be happy to answer any emails you might have. So since we manufacture roof windows, we also have to manufacture flashings. Flashing is a crucial part of roof window, necessary for correct installation and waterproofing. Unless you're dealing with a flat roof, the sloped roof, we always want to use flashing, which is like a aluminium profile, and it's different from a different type of the roofing material. We see here a high profile flashing for roof tiles, then another high profile flashing, but for a slightly different roof tiles on with a narrow shape. Then typical flashing in the US for shingles, high profile here for a metal roof. Similar flashing can be used for a standing seam. We also manufacture like a special application flashings where for combinations of the windows, and even for chimneys. Next would be the additional accessories. Since we manufacture roof windows, we also manufacture blinds, and we have a choice of external blinds over here, different types, manual or electrical or solar powered. We have internal blinds and external blinds for vertical windows. I will be showing you, I think, a nice slide about how the external blinds perform at the end of my presentation. Roof access products. We manufacture a few different types of roof access products, depending if it's sloped roof or flat roof, and depending on the performance. Like this window, for instance, is the simplest solution we manufacture, non-insulated at all, bubble for non-insulated attics. That element to stand on the roof is also available with FAKRO. This solution is in Europe very popular for chimney inspection. Let's say they think ahead and they provide a easy access to the area near the chimney for inspections. We'll be talking more about the flat roof access skylights today, because they are available in the triple and quadruple glazing. And I don't have many slides about this solution here. What I'm showing here on the right-hand side is a roof access hatch, which has a non-glazed door, but it's well insulated. And this hatch can be combined with an access folding attic ladder. We manufacture both. And if you need any more details about those applications or those products, feel free to email me, and I'll be happy to send you some information. Next, flat roof windows, and I will be talking more about those today. We manufacture many kinds, double glazed, domed, triple glazed. We'll be focusing on the ones that are suitable for passive house design. FAKRO makes also membranes for roofing applications, for walls. And since we make membranes, we also manufacture flashing tapes. FAKRO US does not bring membranes to the US market. We just didn't see demand for it. The US market is pretty full of membranes, but If you have an interest in any of these, again, you can email me later on. I'll be happy to share more information. I know there are membranes with different permeability levels. Pretty cool stuff, but again, not in my presentation today. The next product category are attic ladders, and we are really proud of that category, to be honest. I have a feeling that FAKRO is known in the US market more for the attic ladders than for the skylights. Yet we're still working on it, but we do have a really good business for the attic ladders in the United States, all over the country. We manufacture different types. The one on the left is a metal scissor type attic ladder. It's a great solution for tight spaces because it folds down like accordion. So we have like a 7 sizes door to choose from. If you have a really tight space, even like a walk-in closet, you can install this type of product there. And then we manufacture like a classic 3 sections folding attic ladders, wooden and a metal. For the US market, I think currently we have 17 different models. All depends on a need on a certain market. Sometimes the fireproofing is necessary. Sometimes just fire treated board is fine. Sometimes let's say the insulation is important, or high ceiling. 12-foot ceiling is the max we can reach. But I'd like to mention also that one of our ladders actually has a passive house certificate from Germany. And this ladder, it's called LWT, has a R12 insulated door and is available on the US market. So if you're interested, if you'd like to receive more information about it, please email me later on. I don't have more details about this product for a presentation or Q&A. We can talk about it at the Q&A as well. Another product category are our access doors, and we have 3 different types. We manufacture fire rated, 1 hour fire rating with R12 door. We use Walkable insulation for those models. Then we have a R10 door or R5. Next category, this might be a surprise for some. These are vertical windows. Yes, FAKRO does make vertical windows as well. We do not advertise them much on the US market. Our production was pretty busy to fulfill demands from the European market. That's why we do not advertise them much on the US. However, worth to mention, it's one of our products. We only manufacture wooden type of windows with aluminum cladding. So wood frame, always aluminum cladding, available with a double, triple, or even quadruple glazing. And then once we started manufacturing vertical windows, there are many choices for the cladding, color, and even texture. We started also making the entry door and the garage door, where the surface of those doors can be actually the same as a cladding on your window. It gives the house a really modern look. Next product category would be automatic control. So some of our doors or windows, they have a motor to remotely open them and close. So we manufacture the motors, and we manufacture remote controls for those motors. Smart home. So all of our products that are remote controlled, blinds or windows and doors, they use Z-Wave communication protocol, which means that it will allow the end user to connect them to the smart home system. You would need to purchase like a separate, how you call it, router, Z-Wave router. And Z-Wave router would allow you to combine all your Z-Wave devices you have at home. It could be even a light switch, a garage opener, and again, FAKRO products. With this router, you can combine them into one application and then control them from your phone, tablet, and create scenes, smart home scenes. The application for controlling those devices comes with a router. So we do not manufacture those routers, but we do have we can recommend the brand that we tested. Our next category would be non-standard solutions. So FAKRO makes almost all of our products we can make in a custom size. Deck-mounted, curb-mounted skylights we can make in a custom size, even odd shapes, like you can see here. We can make it round, if you wish. The outside, the cladding color can be painted in any of the RAL colors to match your roofing material. When we finish the window in a custom color, we can also finish the flashing that comes with that window with a custom color. We can make a cladding made of copper as well, if you wish. Internal colors, also you have a selection of all of the color palette from RAL. This slide here shows a glass in our one of our offices. We can actually imprint on the glazing. If you, for instance, have a unusual project, when you would like to have some logo or even sign imprinted on the glazing permanently, we can do so on the roof windows. And the other non-standard solutions would be, let's say, a non-typical installations where we can design drawings, shop drawings, and then necessary flashings for such application. So from here, I'd like to move to the categories of products that are suitable for passive house design. And we'll start with a typical European window, pivot roof window. This model is called FTT. It's the top of the top that we manufacture for sloped roof windows, available with quadruple glazing or triple glazing. Quadruple glazing actually has a passive house certificate from Germany. For some instance, in the United States, we did not sell many of quadruple glazing. Most of our clients are focused on the triple pane glazing, which seems to be enough for this market. However, quadruple glazing is available and will give us a U value of 0.58 watt per square meter Kelvin. Same window with a triple glazing would give us 0.8 watt per square meter Kelvin. Solar heat gain or solar factor is the same for both glazings. Quadruple glazing is a tempered glass glazing, and a triple glazing has a inner pane laminated. I think that might be the reason why solar heat gain seems to be the same. Now, the quadruple windows are available on a special order. Lead time is 8 to 10 weeks. And triple glazed windows, we used to keep in stock three most popular sizes. We actually sell them with the help of 475 for over 10 years now in the United States. But we start leaning into a new solution that it's slightly less expensive, but still good for the project. And then we work closely with Jeremy and from 475, and I will show you an example later on what is an alternative for this window. We have a smaller size in stock. It's 21 by 38 is in stock in Chicago. The rest of the sizes are available on a special order with 8 to 10 weeks lead time. And this window comes in a 21 standard sizes. The next our window is FNP window, which is a fixed window. And funny story again, since we are a distribution company, we don't sometimes have an opportunity to talk to end users or designers about how the product is later on used on a project. And I think from Jeremy from 475, we learned that many of the let's say the pivot windows that 475 used to buy from us were used as in application, out of reach application. So nobody would even reach for them to open them up. And so after discussion with 475, we came up with a window that actually, it is typical European window, but it's the hinge, the handle is removed, the hinges are removed, so the window is perfect for a out of reach fixed window application. It comes with a triple glazed glazing only. First, as a standard, was the glazing that was a P5. It's a laminated glazing with U value of 0.97 watt per square meter Kelvin and a solar factor of 0.48. And at some point with Jeremy, again, hello, Jeremy, I think I saw you tuning in. We discussed, Jeremy actually asked us if we can get this solar factor a little lower, because that's the demand on the market. And indeed, it turns out that we can. We can make a special glazing that it would be still P5 laminated glazing, but with extra solar preventive coatings on the two surfaces. And we managed to lower down the solar heat gain to 0.2. And this glazing unit is currently the most popular on the US market for triple glazing skylights we sell. However, it might change in the future because we introduced a new skylight. I'll show you later. Next window would be pre-select roof window, FPP. So unlike the very first pivot window I showed you, this window has a switch which allows you to open it in two different ways. You can open it like a top hinge and, let's say, more conveniently enjoy the view. And you can open it as a pivot. Pivot is also a pretty handy way to open that window. You can flip that sash inside out, and you can anytime clean the glass that is facing outside. So this window can receive the same glazing as we designed for a fixed skylight. It's a P5G2 with a U value of 0.97 watt per square meter Kelvin and a solar heat gain of 0.2. I mentioned before about how we learned that 475 might need a fixed window. You can see the cross section of this window, and then I didn't show the cross section of the fixed skylight, but it looks exactly the same. In Europe, they don't install roof windows often in the out of reach applications. So most of the windows are open with handle in Europe. They don't have such a demand for fixed skylights as we do here. That's why, let's say, when you happen to purchasing our fixed window, this type, from the inside, it looks exactly the same. It has a sash, it has a frame, but it doesn't have hinges and a handle. It might look like it's openable, but it won't open. And just to compare what we've done with 475 in this case, where 475 used to buying this window often, let's say 2, 3 even years ago, back to 10 years ago. Now we're leaning more into this design. Lower solar heat gain, slightly worse U value, but seems to be working for the project that 475 is working on. Lead time for those windows is 8 to 10 weeks. We don't keep them in stock. However, if the demand for those windows grows, we are able to keep them in stock in the US. Next, I'd like to briefly tell you how the roof windows are installed. Now, many of you might be familiar with that approach. We might call typical European roof windows as a deck mount windows. However, they don't sit on a deck. They don't sit exactly on the deck, they hang it. So the part of the frame sinks into the rough opening. And rough opening needs to be larger than the outside frame dimensions to allow the window to sink in. Installation process starts with installing installation brackets. And you can install this bracket to the window frame on two different levels. It's a V level or N level. On a V level, you allow more of the frame to sink deeper to the roof. And but it's suitable for, let's say, low profile roofing materials. If you have a project with roof tiles, you might want to use N level. And of course, once you decide which level is more suitable for your project, you need to get a correct flashing. Flashing is either V or N. That's really important with the European type windows. And speaking of the flashings, since we are focusing on a high performance window with a triple or quadruple glazing, it does make sense to use thermal flashings. FAKRO manufactures regular flashings where, let's say, your aluminum profile is secured straight against the frame of the window. However, we also manufacture thermal flashings where before you install the flashing, the outside frame of the window receives a little bit of insulation. That helps with the thermal bridging. And this type of the flashing is now standard for our triple glazed roof windows. On this picture, I show you the installation process. The roof window is installed. The ice and water shield is installed around the frame. So you do install ice and water shield first. Then you add that insulation to the side, left and right. And then you start proceeding with installing the bottom flashing profile, which has just a bit of insulation on the bottom. But the top profile has exactly the same amount of insulation. This is a PE foam, about 3/4 inch wide. And our value of that foam is about 0.55. Our value is 0.55. And we figured that using of thermal flashing helps to improve U value of the window by about 15%. Those U values that I showed you before are all calculated with the thermal flashing. And the next product, this is our new baby, flat and sloped roof skylights. PDX is fixed and PDS is venting, solar powered. They share the same construction of the frame. So for the installation process, the sash is removed. But this is by standard, this window comes with triple glazing with a U value of 0.22 BTUs. We did evaluated that window with an FRC. Solar heat gain will be 0.17. This window was first time introduced at the IBS Builders Show in Vegas last year. This year in spring, we built a stock in our Edison warehouse. So all the sizes are now available in stock in our warehouse. And the sizes, I mean, think of all the standard skylight sizes you can find on the market. This window is available in all of those sizes. What we like about the design is like a sleek, we call it infinity glass. So you don't see any frame on the top of the glazing, which even in a flat roof or very small slope allows that rainwater to drip down. Installation of this window. So this skylight is a typical deck-mounted skylight where this skylight sits on a deck. So your rough opening will be smaller than the outside frame dimensions of the skylight. Part of the frame sits on the deck. There's a groove for the drywall, and the skylight has a bracket on each side. You use a couple of small screws to secure this skylight to the deck. Next, you overlap it with membrane. For flat roofs applications, you just finish it with membrane. Once your roof pitch is 15 degrees or more, we do recommend to use aluminum flashing like you would do with regular wooden windows. And The flashing also depends on the type of the roofing material. So shingles, that's low profile flashing, and high profile flashing for metal roof and or tiles. The next product category would be flat roof skylights. So FAKRO makes skylights that are suitable only for flat roofs from 0 to 15 degrees slope. And I would divide those skylights category into 3 actually subcategories. We have fixed and venting skylights, and then they can be manually or electrical venting. We have a roof access skylights and a walkable skylights. Those skylights, they sort of build on the same frame design. Those 2, roof access and the venting skylights, they have exactly the same frame. Walkable skylight has a slightly taller and stronger frame to hold the weight. But all of those windows are available in those standard sizes. We also have some Europe. These standards were actually designed for as the most popular in the US. We have some sizes that are European. So if, let's say, one of these sizes does not match your projects, it's always good to ask if we have something that it's, let's say, close to what you need. And then from here, I'd like to say a little bit more about those products, as the line of the products that we call DXF, DMF, DEF, with triple glazed or quadruple glazed, are great products for passive house design. In the corner here, you can see the cross section. So it's a multi-chamber PVC frame with an insulation inside. You see triple glazing in this case. The top glazing is a tempered glass. Bottom is a laminated glass. We always use warm spacers. It's by standard in every our skylights, even double glazed. We don't use least expensive spacers in our products at all. Argon gas, of course. Now, the technical parameters of the glazings. The quadruple pane, we call it DU8, will give you U value of 0.64 watt per square meter Kelvin, and solar heat gain at 0.38. Triple pane glazing, DU6, will give you U value of and U value, I mean U value of the window, not the glazing. U value of the window would be 0.7 watt per square meter Kelvin, and the solar heat gain would be 0.43. This triple glazed option we did evaluate in the US according to NFRC specifications, and NFRC gave us 0.22 BTUs. And solar heat gain, that was a surprise for us, that solar heat gain is much lower than the G factor from the European standard. They normally should be the same. So there might be a different way of calculating solar heat gain according to US standards. Next product would be roof access skylight. And what I'm showing here is a project in Chicago, a couple of fairly narrow but long buildings where there's not much opportunity to bring the daylight from the side of the building without compromising your privacy. The roof windows are actually great opportunity. However, this project, I'm not sure if it was designed to net zero categories. I think not, but you can see how many solar panels each of those buildings received on the roof. There was little space for the skylight, and the contractor decided to put the skylight here. That's the skylight from the same building here. And this picture on the right shows you interior of that top floor. The contractor decided to put the skylight as a roof access in order to make it easier for any maintenance of those solar panels if necessary. So let's say you can think of that skylight as a typical fixed skylight all year long, but in case you need a roof access in such a setup, it's easier to put the small step ladder inside on the top level and access the roof than than bring the ladder from the outside. Besides natural light, which is giving extra light near to the staircase in the middle of the house. Now, parameters, this window comes with the same glazing as a previous model I showed you. Quadruple pane glazing, DU8, with U value of 0.64 watt per square meter Kelvin. Solar heat gain 0.38. Sometimes it's also expressed as a percentage. So sorry about missing the zero dot, but it's the same. And then triple pane glazing, again, a U value of 0.7 watt per square meter Kelvin. Solar heat gain 0.43. And don't be scared about those solar heat gains, because at the end of the presentation, I'll show you a nice way to lower them down with external blinds. Next window, it's our walkable skylight, DXW. It is a really heavy window, strong. You can see the cross section here, slightly taller than previous windows, mostly due to the package that is on the top of that window. We see like a laminated package here that is over 1 inch thick. We still call it triple glazed because you have 2 air chambers, 2 spacers, warm spacers. The gap is filled with argon gas. The bottom glazing is also lamination of 2 glass panes. And parameters, thermal parameters of that window, we evaluated that window with an FRC as well. And then NFRC gave us 0.22 BTUs and solar heat gain of 0.24. The European standard evaluation gave us 0.5 watt per square meter Kelvin and solar heat gain G of 0.35. Load capacity, you're probably curious about the capacity of that window. So it is rated for 5 kilonewtons per square meter, which will give you about 500 kilograms per square meter, and that for imposed load. For concentrated load, it's 4.5 kilonewtons. This window comes in a 5 different standard sizes for the US market, and 3 sizes here, like 36 by 36, 36 by 48, and 48 by 48 are in stock in Edison. The smallest were so far on a special order. However, due to demand, we are bringing them in and they will be in stock as well. We have a couple of more sizes in the European sizes. The smallest one we make is not 30 by 30. We make one that it's 24 inches by 24 inches, and that's the smallest we can make. However, the 48 by 48 is the largest. This question pops up often, so it's worth to mention up front. The next, the installation of the flat roof skylights. Very easy. These are actually deck mounted skylights, so you don't need to build any curb unless you want to. You can set them on the curb if you wish, for, let's say, areas where you receive a lot of snow. We even manufacture curbs for them, and I show the curb later. But in general, you just need a solid substrate underneath that window. That part of the frame here is about 4.5 inch wide, just so you know. So you need a wide enough substrate beneath it, so the nail that goes in the corner of that profile, installation screw actually, can securely hold the window to the deck. So once you, let's say, set that window on your opening, you put those screws in a groove here, specially designed for that purpose. So the head of the screw later on is not on the way for the membrane. You put a bunch of screws around that window. The screws comes with a window actually, so you don't need your own screws. But unless your substrate is, let's say, concrete or metal, then you need to use a special anchors that you can source on your own. But the wood screws comes with a window. So once you secure it to the to the deck. You don't need to use any adhesives here. You overlap it with 2 layers of roofing membrane, and that finishes the application. For the let's say walkable skylight, it's worth to mention the weight of the product itself. Walkable skylight, the 2 most popular sizes here in States are 36 by 36. The skylight itself weighs 300 pounds, and the largest size almost 500 pounds. It's really inconvenient to carry this item throughout the project. It's better to have it delivered direct to the roof if you can. I have more examples of the walkable skylight installation. So in a similar fashion as it's vented, fixed, or roof access, you just install it on the roof deck, you overlap the frame with a membrane, and then you build a deck around it. It is important to keep the deck away from the frame about 1/4 inch gap here. Over here, you need a 1/4 inch gap, and the deck cannot be supported over the window frame. We've seen application where someone actually attached a wooden lath here, and then to support some tiles. The installation instructions clearly says it's not allowed to secure anything to the window. So you have to have an independent deck structure around it. And here's a project when it's finished. And here's the same house. It's a nice Chicago area, nice community. However, as you can tell on the picture, houses are very close to each other, narrow and long, not much opportunity to bring the daylight from the side of the building. So your roof window is a great source of natural light. One more slide about the installation of the roof windows, because we do have a system that allows you to use them on a green roofs. It doesn't matter if you want to use a lot of insulation on the roof, or you would like to use the insulation and then, let's say, plant a grass or some plants. We manufacture extensions. So this piece here that is green, it's like a frame extension, and you can use a few of those extensions to bring the window up. Walkable skylight has its own extension that it's stronger with a little less insulation, and the rest of the skylights, the access or fixed skylights, they have a more insulation in the frame. Of course, you can use it probably also like a wooden curb, which would not perform in thermal wise the same as our extension. So for those of you that are interested in such a design, we do have a solution for it. And at the end of my products, I'd like to show you the external blinds. So external blinds are actually proved to be 8 times more effective than internal blinds in terms of keeping the summer heat outside your room. Over here, you can see different examples of the external blinds that we manufacture. These are the manual one. We have a solar powered. This picture shows you a 10%, because the fabric on those blinds can be 10% transparency, can have a 10% transparency or 1% transparency. And as an example, I'm showing you here 10% transparency fabric. The room gets much darker, just a bit of light comes in. However, you can see through. Sometimes, because we have the project where same application for vertical windows, you can use a 10% blinds on the, let's say, office applications on the outside if you would like to bring some privacy. So people from the outside cannot see people inside the office. However, from inside the office, you can see what's going on outside. Even 1% transparency is slightly transparent, and at night, the thing changed. So you can't think of those blinds as a privacy blinds at night, because once you start, once you turn on the light inside the room with the blinds down, from the outside you can see almost clearly through 10% transparent fabric, and you can see cloudy person through 1% transparent fabric. And about the performance, which is actually interesting. So we did some tests and research in solar energy transmittance. So this section of the slide I will be focusing at this moment. It's an example of the window, roof window without any blinds that would have a solar heat gain of 0.61. Once that window receives the internal blinds and the blackout blinds, which is the best blind that can stop the heat, you can bring the solar heat gain down to 0.35, so almost 50% down. However, if instead of internal blinds, you use an external blinds, that heat gain can go down from 0.61 down to even 0.04, or let's say 0.14 in a worse scenario. This depends on the type of the fabric that it's used. On the bottom here, I show the most popular fabrics. These two are giving you a 10% transparency. 0.90 is the most popular. And then this fabric is a 1% transparency. And actually on the picture on the previous slide, over here you see 0.90, that's 0.92. That's 1% transparency. This one is 10% transparency, 0.90. An interesting data highlighted in the chart. Look at the bottom here. It's a glazing P5 I mentioned before. It's a triple glazed glazing with a solar factor of 0.48. And with a 10% fabric, 0.90, you can lower down the solar heat gain to 0.087. With 1% fabric, you can get it even lower. So I think this is really interesting solution for, let's say, buildings that are built in the northern states where higher solar heat gain might be on your class in the winter time, and of course it's not welcomed in the summer, but you can prevent yourself from overheating with external blinds. Slowly coming to the end, FAKRO company are not only products, we also support our end users and contractors and architects. Support for contractors is through the installation consultation, even over the phone, over the emails or video chat. And we always open to talk to contractors. We sometimes travel to the job sites if the contractor, let's say, is new to our product and is uncertain about the installation. We can travel to the site and assist with the first unit's installation and sort of training on site. Also do training at our facility. We of course have a dedicated website with tabs and manuals for installers. We have a really large library of installation instructions on YouTube. All you need to do is in the search engine type FAKRO and the model of the product that you're working with, and there should be installation instructions there. We usually recommend our new installers to go to YouTube first to get themselves familiar with the process, and troubleshooting and warranty support. As any manufacturer that's necessary, it's a key. And how do we support architects? You can find the FAKRO CAD files and BIM files at ARCAD, Archispace, and BIM Object. We also work closely with architects. Let's say you have a project with non-standard solution, or some areas where you might not be fully comfortable using skylights, and you want to see if we have a solution for you. We can design, this is an example of one of the custom prepared shop drawings for one of our architects, where we will develop those drawings. We have a designers team in Poland where they can work with you and develop the product, the drawings for you. You can use those drawings later on in your project. Of course, we have a technical support team, a dedicated website tab, and the large libraries of our shop drawings available for Autodesk, Revit, and Archicad. And that would be the last slide in my presentation. Here's my contact information. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and for staying to the end. In case you have any questions that I'm unable to answer today, that's my email address. Feel free to use it. Or perhaps in the future, you might have a project that will spark some new questions. I will be happy to connect. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Tomasz. Really great presentation and opened, I think, many of our eyes to the breadth of products that you provide. I was unaware of the membranes, for example. Boy, the walkable skylights are so cool. We have a number of questions from the audience, and so we're going to dive right into those if you're ready, Tomasz.
Let's do it.
All right. So the first one comes from Melvin. Melvin, hi. How are you? Good to see you.
Hello, good to see you. Yeah, it's just a simple question. Are your US available products available also in Canada?
Yes. Thank you for the question. Of course, we have in Canada the distributor for FAKRO products is Columbia Skylights. So you might want to contact them. They are located in Vancouver.
Awesome. Thanks, Melvin. And next up is Shannon. Looks like you're here, Shannon. Are you able to unmute? If not, I can ask the question on your behalf. I will ask the question. So Shannon asks, are there max glazing sizes for the vertical windows and doors?
Yes, they are. And unfortunately, since the production plant is in Europe, what limits us is the size of the container for the logistics purposes. We do manufacture very long spans of sliding doors, for instance. I don't have much details with me at this moment. However, the challenge here would be the transportation. But there is a limit. Yeah, of course there is a limit. I mean, for every manufacturers of, even with skylights, the bigger we're willing to go, the more risk the manufacturer takes in terms of cracks on the glazing, right?
Right. Okay, cool. Next up is Arkadiusz. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If you're available.
That's good. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, great.
Polish.
Cześć, Tomasz. I have a few questions. Question number one is, apparently there's going to be a manufacturing facility that's going to be opening in the States soon. So when is that happening? That's item number one. Second item is the best unit that you have versus the second one, the quadruple glazed unit versus the triple glazed unit. What is the premium typically percentage-wise that would have to be spent in order to get the top of the line product? That was the second question. And I think I had a third question about your training facility location. Where is that?
Okay, so thank you, Arkadiusz. First question, the manufacturing facility, indeed, yes, FAKRO actually just opened a manufacturing facility in the US. However, this facility is for attic ladders. Like I mentioned in my presentation, we do have a strong presence on the US market with these products. We sell a lot of attic ladders to builders and distributors that work closely with builders. That's why we decided to open up the production facility. It's already fully operational. It's in North Carolina, Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Second question, that was the cost. you mentioned, cost, I think. So, for instance, I have an example of FTTU6 window, which was the, let's say we call it flag model, the top of the line we make. It's available with quadruple glazing and triple glazing. And the retail for the quadruple glazing for this size, one of the most popular sizes is 30 inches wide by 46 inches tall. Quadruple glazing would be at the cost of about $2,400, and triple glazing would be $1,600. So 1,400 for a quadruple, and 2,400 for quadruple, and 1,600 for a triple glazed option. That's the cost difference. However, the quadruple skylight, I think worth to mention, they come with their own flashing, so it's a package. A flashing itself would be about $300, the thermal flashing. So you might think the difference would be roughly $500 for the same size between quadruple and triple glazed. And the last question was our facility. Actually, the main operation or headquarters for the U.S. market is located in Edison, Illinois. It's the Chicago suburbs where we have a training facility for our roofers. So you can come to us, Arkadiusz, or if you have a large project, we can come to you and then train you on your project.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Next up is Christian Medina, who is not on the call right now. So Christian's question was, for the Passive House certified roof windows, do you have a catalog of glazing we can choose from, depending on the G value we require? Same question for the glazing spacers.
I think so, yeah. And a few of them I went through. I don't think we need many. But for instance, I showed on a presentation, and I can come back to the presentation if you want to. So I think more details would be easier to provide through the email. But what was that? When we were talking about this quadruple and triple glazed option, that would be the first option for let's say roof windows catalog for your sloped window. And then sloped roof, sorry. So sloped roof windows, that would be one of your choice. The second would be this choice. So you go either this glazing or this glazing, which is one that I showed you previously. That will give us a choice of 3 different glazings, quadruple, and 2 types of triple glazing. One would be with a really low solar heat gain, one would be with a higher solar heat gain. And that would be in terms of the sloped roof windows. In terms of that flat roof windows, we have a choice of this product now, and oh, here we go. Our new product, our new skylight, which was developed or introduced last year. So that's your glazing that you could go, but only with this skylight. Unfortunately, this skylight can receive this glazing or double glazing, which probably would not be interested in for passive house. So you can go with this product for flat roof, or you can choose one of these glazings for flat roof, quadruple with higher solar heat gain, or triple, that also, according to European standard, has a fairly high solar heat gain. Again, those windows can receive external blinds. The blinds that I showed at the end are available for flat roof skylights as well. I hope this answered the question. But
no, that's great. That's a great summary. Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Tomasz. All right, next up is Bettina Schneider.
Hi, I'm an end user, and my question is a little bit along the lines of Margaret Reynolds' question in the chat. We have just, we have 2 skylights we're looking to replace on our flat-ish roof in Brooklyn. Has a little pitch, and we have the old school single pane with the wire in them, like industrial style skylights that are extremely hot. And I was hoping to find a solution whereby like one company could like come, look, assess, provide, and then install. But it seems that it's always broken up. It seems that there's like the manufacturer or the dealer, and then somebody else comes and puts their hands on it. And it just sort of breaks up the, kind of like accountability chain and like having somebody who really knows everything all the way from beginning to end. So I just wanted to know if there's any FAKRO kind of, representation in New York that like sort of sees it through from end to end. Is that an abnormal process? I think so.
Well, we wish it is a normal process. However, we're lucky. We do have a certified installers in New York. I wish it would be a standard process throughout the country. However, US is huge, and it's hard to cover the whole United States. Lucky for you, we do have a distributor in New York that can come over and help you out. I would, if you don't mind, send me an email. I can show that email again, or Zach can share it.
Okay.
And then
yeah,
from there I can connect you with the right person. And then I do have a cousin actually that lives in Brooklyn, in the houses where they, how you call them in English, where
brownstone.
They connected with each other. Like it's a long block, but you just have a staircase and they have a separate. There's only like a little firewall on the roof.
Yeah.
It's separating unit from the unit. They all have a roof access and a skylight. And I've seen those skylights, wired skylights there.
Yeah.
Actually, I would have to find a picture. When I was preparing for a presentation, I bumped on the picture that was from Brooklyn as well. Someone replaced skylight with our skylight, flat roof skylight there.
Okay.
So it definitely, and it's hopefully to connect you with the right person. If let's say your roof opening is unusual, the beauty about those skylights, flat roof skylights, because of the deck mount, they can overlap the existing roof opening. So it might not look ideal from the inside, but let's say it's less expensive than going custom size. I would say you remove the old skylight and you overlap the existing opening with a new one. Send me an email, please, and I'll be happy to connect you.
Great note. Thank you about the non-custom version. Thank you.
Sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Bettina. Appreciate it. Next up is Joan. And Joan has a question about related to Eichlers. I've enjoyed living in an Eichler back in the day.
You did?
Yeah, for a year in college. Yes, it was great.
See? So, Tomasz, am I pronouncing your name right?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
So your presentation was absolutely amazing, along with our participants' questions. So your whole presentation was very concise and clear, which got me thinking even further. And here in California, it's a unique climate. So we had Eichler. He was just a postmodern, wonderful architect that built many homes. And I'm actually up in the Bay Area, and there are great examples of postmodern homes. And there are a number of window manufacturers that will still do the steel frame, because here what is becoming important is the preservation of the original. And people here are very conscious of putting in a robust window, which is bulky to them. They love the sleekness of a steel frame. And they're willing to do the overall performance of their home in order to keep these steel frames, which they recognize probably won't meet the energy efficiency. So that's what's happening here in California. And since you are now have such a great presence in the United States, are you interested in a steel frame? Like, do you have a future for steel frame? Because there are other manufacturers here where like these homeowners are going to. Yeah.
Thank you for the question. I do admire what I liked the most about, let's say, US designed window is the sleek frame. It doesn't matter if it's steel or even wood. I've noticed that the frames are in the windows, the standard frames used in the US windows are really sleek, which on the one hand is a great visual aspect. Let's say they look good. You can use larger glazings and you can bring more daylight. However, since FAKRO is a European company and Europe is pretty harsh on environment protection, meaning energy usage. So such a product like with a low energy performance would not fly in Europe. And still on a skylights design, we rely on our engineers in Poland. So the performance is more important in this case than the aesthetics of the product, I would say. Perhaps though, maybe your client would like I'm not sure if the question relates to the roof windows, because if it's to the vertical windows, we have no option to use different frame than wooden. And as far as I know, company doesn't want to go that route. They only stick to the wooden frames for the vertical windows. However, if I might share a frame, I'll share my screen. Just 1 second. If you're asking about a roof window, if you see that window, it's a pretty sleek design. So there's no frame on the top. So once this window is closed, let's say, if I might find a better picture.
That's gorgeous.
So this might look like a metal window from the outside, to be honest, or that one. Our new skylight, there's only a little bit of aluminum on the side. The glazing has a little bit of imprint here. You see that it may not see this perfectly, but there's a little edge here that is imprinted dark black. That's for aesthetics reasons, because underneath it we have a edge of the glazing unit, and you don't want it to see it from the outside. It's ugly. So we print a part of the glass is imprinted here black, so you don't see this element from the outside. This window on the roof might look like a metal window, and it comes black as a standard finish on the outside. This might answer your question. Actually, it's not steel, but it might look like.
Oh, right. Oh, you're absolutely right. It kind of doesn't really matter the material. It's really the slickness, that the visual aesthetic. You're right on. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, your products are beautiful, gorgeous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. And I think we have one question here left from Paul. Paul, are you still? I think you're still here.
Yes, I am. My question, I'm also from Brooklyn, where we have a lot of, if we have those row houses, we have lot lines where the fire rating is very critical. And I was wondering if you have the fire ratings on these, both skylights and vertical.
We do have fire rating, however, they're not fire rated, to be honest. Let me maybe
certified.
Yeah, clarify. I will get to my notes about fire rating in a minute, because the PVC frame that we use for flat roof windows was tested for behavior in the presence of fire. So obviously PVC is not a fireproof material. However, it can contribute to the fire or can resist the fire. And our PVC resists the fire on the highest level. It creates very little smoke and does not create those melting drops. Sometimes when you burn let's say plastic materials, you can see like drops of fire coming down. So our windows would not produce those, which means they would not help the fire to spread. Once the fairly small fire is not next to the window would not burn anymore. But worth to mention, because I discussed that with one of the manufacturers of the roof access, Bilco, I think it was a gentleman from Bilco, when we were talking about fireproofing of the roof, you might rely on a membrane, to be honest, at this point. So the whole roof is covered by a certain membrane, and that membrane overlaps the window as well. So only the edge that is aluminum edge that covers up the glazing unit is exposed. So you can actually, I think the fireproofing of the window can be sort of a part of fireproofing of the whole roof, if I may.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Paul. I think that wraps it up, Tomasz. This has been really fantastic. Thank you for your excellent presentation and for sharing everything that FAKRO offers. We are super appreciative. Also, a big thank you to FAKRO for being a champion sponsor of Passive House Accelerator and making our work possible. And thank you to everyone for joining us here today. Tomasz, is there any last comment you'd like to make before we close up?
I'd like to say hello to Jeremy. I think I saw him here somewhere.
Yeah,
I was expecting him to ask me a question, but did not pop up.
I'm here. I'll save my questions maybe, but appreciate the presentation.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. Our experience with passive house design started with 475. We're still active with 475. We are happy to be a partner with you guys, and then and now since we are partnering with a Passive House Accelerator, it's cool. Good to see you.
Yeah, we're very pleased to partner with 475 as well. With that, happy Thursday, everyone, and have a great day. And we'll see you at the next one.